Hello, everyone. Welcome to another episode of Connect Talk Official. My name is AJ Aluthwala, and in this podcast, we talk about business, entrepreneurship, and technology. Today, I'm joined by Mike and Christina Carahan, and they have a very unique business. The name of the business is Elite Tune School. And Mike and Christina, welcome to the show.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Very good. So tell us a little bit about Elite Tune School and how you guys got started.
So, I come from a background of high performance engine tuning, and I've been in that space for a very long time, probably a couple decades. And then as that kind of I just got kind of got old, and I wanted to do something different.
Mm.
And in my field, we keep a lot of people, high level guys, will keep everything very kind of hidden and secret because that's what keeps your race cars at the top.
Yeah.
Is all the tricks of the trade, or your street cars or whatever it may be. But we wanted to, and I have a partner with Elite Tune School. His name is Brandon Lieb, and we wanted to give everyone a fair shake. So we wanted this to make this common knowledge, and we wanted to share every tip and trick that we knew in the business. And we wanted to kind of not give it to everybody, but we wanted people to have access to it. Because in reality, when there's only 5 or 10 guys on the planet that have access to it, and it's just an unfair shake for the little guy. And then we started teaching high level pros that had been doing it like us for say 10 or 15 years that wanted to better their game, fill in some gaps. Then we backed that up and we started teaching kind of mid-level new guys through the general public. And then we grew that into teaching on a mass scale through high schools, colleges. We have a college program, and we could talk more about that, but that was kind of our game plan. And now we want, our whole goal is to teach people at the lowest level possible, so they make it it's common knowledge is what we want it to be in the automotive space, how to do this.
Yeah.
So just like a tool in your toolbox.
Right. So this was a natural progression for you. You had all this knowledge and you want to basically share this knowledge with everyone else. And therefore you created this platform and put some structure around it so you can invite others to be part of it, right? If you can walk a little bit, walk us a little bit through the step by step growth. How did that happen?
So we originally started with the stuff that was kind of new at the time. It was the Gen 5 platform. And we were very immersed in that market. We were considered probably the best in the country at doing that. And we said, let's teach. We started teaching that first
Mhm.
to say high level pros, like we said. And then as we kind of got into it and we started building different courses on different classes. And then when we kind of built everything out of our mind, we said, hey, who's the best in the industry for this course? And then we went to him and said, hey, you want to partner with us? We're gonna release this information on the public. And if we don't know something, we know someone that does. So we find the highest level guys that have been out there. We vet them, make
Mm.
sure that they can't, they basically can't tell us something that's not true because we were in the space. So, and then we take that information and we put it in like a general public platform that people can go to on the online school. Then we started transitioning to a college program at the University of Northwestern Ohio, UNOH, and we're in the process of doing some pilot programs with them. And then we signed a deal with Electude to actually distribute our product to literally hundreds of thousands of students from high school to 2-year tech programs really all over the world. It's going to start in United States and Canada, and then eventually we hope they can translate it into say Spanish, because there is a market for that type of stuff, because they don't even have those people. If they just speak Spanish, they can't even take our normal courses, and that there's a huge need for that also.
Gotcha. So, um, given your experience in the education space as an entrepreneur, right, and all the success you both have had, what's your advice to anyone who's a budding entrepreneur about scaling their business?
Do you want to take that or?
I mean, I can. I mean, we're not masters at scaling by any stretch, but we looked at our market and our niche,
Mhm.
and we thought who could actually use this information what other resources are out there that that currently offer,
Mhm.
and how can we provide either more value or get it into the hands of people who've never seen it. So a lot of it's awareness. If you're trying to scale any product, I think you have to make people aware of your product, and then you have to provide some value to them that they either can't get anywhere else, or it's better than what they currently are offered, to try and fix either their education problem or to get them excited about something new that they might want to get a look into if it's a introduction type program.
Gotcha, gotcha. Okay, so when you're in business as a couple, you run into uh, to all that friction, right? Uh, that's the easiest way of putting
Yeah.
it. So, how do you guys split the responsibility of business, uh, and what roles do you each play in it?
I think it's important for you each to understand your strengths. And I think in the beginning, there was a lot of expectations that I would put on him that really weren't his strengths, and maybe vice versa. So understanding that he's more of a visionary and pushing this company and propelling it and continuing the growth, whereas my strengths are more of the details, the organization, the execution. Sometimes that would kind of come across as, you're in all these meetings and getting to shake all these hands, and I'm kind of in the background feeling like I'm doing all of this day-to-day work, but understanding that's what's made this work.
Mm,
Those are my strengths, and him continuing to push the growth, the connections, and just things within the industry. That's what we're good at. And so understanding things that I may have wanted him to do prior that are really my role and responsibility. I think that's been huge. That adjusting of mindset of this is my strength, this is how I support this company, and letting him do his thing as well has been, I think, beneficial and really helped me.
gotcha. Can you think of an instance where you thought that he will get this particular thing done, but it was really not his strength, right? And then it was a disappointment, right? Because then maybe we can go back and forth on this, but if you have an idea and if you can share something.
Sure. I mean, I think there's been times just, for example, presentations. He'll be
Yeah.
like, I need you to change this, this, and this for an upcoming presentation. And I'm like, you do realize it took you longer to email me than to just open the file and change this and do this. But that's not where his mind is.
Yeah.
His mind is focused on the presentation, who he needs to target at that presentation, who he's going to talk to, the connections that are going to be made. So for him to stop that thinking and backtrack to a very minimal task in my mind of opening a file, hitting backspace, yada, 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 it takes him away from being in his strength and in his zone.
Right.
Whereas it takes me 5 seconds also to do the same thing that I'm complaining about. So again, just reminding myself of he's not doing it to waste my time, or
Yeah.
he's not doing it because he is above the task. It's
Right.
just his mind is focused in a different area, in a different space.
Right.
And it takes 5 minutes for me to edit it and resend it back.
Right.
So simple things like that.
Yeah, no, I completely get that, right? We obviously want to spend our even just the thinking, what's the word, the strength you have to think, on the stuff that you're really good at, so you're not wasting time, trying to learn a new skill, right?
Yeah, and granted, when I see her do some of the stuff, I'm like, oh, I probably could have done that. But what I think what she's starting to understand is I've already moved on from that task,
Yeah.
and I am 10 steps ahead of even worrying about that presentation, because I'm thinking about the presentation I have to do in 3 or 4 or 5 weeks. And in my mind, sometimes when I ask her to do something, she always gets it done. But in my mind, I'm always thinking, I've asked her to do it, it's already done.
Mm,
And it's just like I move right on to the next thing. I
yeah.
don't I don't want to get held up on fixing or modifying a presentation for a certain particular client.
Right. So what projects are you currently working on in building, and what's in the future?
So we signed a big contract with Electude. They're worldwide.
Mhm.
We're going to finish out Elite Tune School as far as the production over the next 4 months. and we'll launch that January 1st. And we'll have pretty much a global outreach at that point, which will be huge for us.
Yeah.
And they're gonna crack down a lot of doors that would take me years to get into and make those relationships. So that's huge for us. We've already have everything outlined. I do like this studio, so we may possibly will be doing some filming in here.
Yeah.
So my partner and I, Brandon, we need to finish that electude content, and we are working on a 4-year degree program with the University of Northwestern Ohio,
Oh,
UNOH.
wow.
So that will be kind of our diamond program, and we are going to funnel everything through our electude and push people that actually want to take it to the next level. And that'll be the first 4-year degree program ever in calibration in the country. So
Wow.
that'll be pretty big. And UNOH is a big. It's for their circle and what they're into. That is a huge high performance school. They have
Mm.
contacts with you know Monster Jam and Dirt Track. And I'm not a Dirt Track or Monster Jam guy, but you go there and it's huge. They own their own racetracks at this
Right.
school. NASCAR. I mean, all these different sanctioning bodies. Drift is really big with them. So you know, we're excited to bring that and to give kids that. And we've taught some certificate programs up there. We actually fly up there. We've had great feedback with that. They okayed us to do a couple of pilot programs. So we've been up there. We've met everybody. We're super excited about finishing that, and that's going to be kind of like the cherry on top.
Mm.
Other than that, we're obviously diving into our new business, which we're excited about, and that is Trovex, where we will be doing the augmented reality app, which is completely different space,
Yeah.
but we're super excited to start down that path.
Yeah. So, you had this uh, performance tuning background, right? And you obviously have a lot on your plate. You're launching this new 4-year degree program, and then diving into the this AR app. Um, Tell us a little bit about the AR app. I'm very interested in learning more about it. I come from a technology background.
So I think we spoke about this at the BA meeting
Yeah.
last week,
Yeah.
and I kind of gave you a brief rundown, but
Yeah.
it's something that one of our sons was at a birthday party, and this is kind of how the app started. And we were speaking with our children, and she's big. Obviously, she's a mother. She's big into children, charity, and that types of thing. And we originally were trying to think of something how we could give back and build something that would be not only unique but actually be functioning and get our kids outside of the house,
Mm.
because most parents these days are literally trying to figure anything out to get their kids excited to leave the house.
Yeah.
um so that's kind of how it started. And then as you know, with building any company from scratch, there's multi layers of this, and we've just kind of started that process. And we have a meeting, I think, on Friday to for the prototype. And I think you're on the short list to actually get a look at that.
Yeah.
We're gonna
Yeah.
have probably 6 or 8 people, Sean Condra, Mike Calhoun,
Yeah.
you, maybe a few others, to get a look at it as we try and build this thing and do something really unique.
Right. Very good. Very good. So starting and running a startup is challenging, as we all know, right? And especially when you have other businesses to run. How do you balance your existing projects and make sure that they thrive while you are launching this new startup? And you can answer it, he can answer it,
I think it
together.
takes a lot of communication. It
Yeah.
takes a lot of planning. It takes a lot of understanding what your goals are and what you're still wanting to accomplish with
Yeah.
your existing company to make sure that it's not suffering.
Yeah.
So, being very clear on electude, being very clear on our degree program and understanding those elements before we took a jump. We've had this idea for Trovex for about a year now.
Mm.
And because of the responsibilities and things going on in other areas, it wasn't time to
Yeah.
really push that. So, knowing where we were in our business space, as he mentioned earlier, Electude has kind of opened doors that would have taken us years to approach on our own. And that was kind of one of those strategic things. If we partner with this company, sure, we're giving away some of our profits, but it's that streamlined process that now allows us to start turning our attention to something else. So I think those partnerships, those relationships, and then being very clear about where we are, what kind of time we do have, and making sure that we're using it wisely has kind of allowed us to really start taking the next steps with the new company.
Yeah, no, that's fantastic. So, um, from what I hear, you will take majority of the day-to-day operations of what you already have going on, and he's the visionary who's out there, looking at this new.
Uh,
Is that a fair statement?
yes, and yes, for the most part, I go in and I grow things.
Yeah,
I build things as
yeah,
fast as possible,
yeah,
and I want to make those connections. And unfortunately, it leaves everybody else behind me playing catch up.
yeah,
But I like to move quickly. I
mm,
like to obviously be strategic, but I also am not someone to sit still.
yeah,
So there's nothing more that we can do. We're waiting for the sign off for the degree program. So we've flown up there, we've shaken all the hands, we've done everything. So that just needs to get approved. And once
yeah,
that's approved, we can build that out very quickly on our end. Probably in 2 to 3 weeks, we could build that out, my partner and I.
yeah,
The electude content, it's going to be due January 1st. Again, we can probably build that out. We could probably build it out in a week or two. But remember, we already have a huge library of content,
sure.
but we want to shoot new stuff, reshape it.
Mm-hmm.
But we'll be ultimately done with all of these expansion projects in the next 2 to 3 months. So
Gotcha.
it came down to what are we going to do next? And I don't feel I feel like we're not at the end of the road of that company, but I don't think it can be scaled any further
Mm,
with, kind of the connections that we've made, the contracts that we've signed. We're already talking about a massive scale and in a niche product in itself. So it's not like it's everybody's going to want to do what we do. So I think we're going to have anybody who's in the education space that wants to have access is going to have that access. So that's going to free up a lot of time. And I see that coming down the pipe.
yeah.
And we kind of shelved it, like she said, we kind of shelved this project
Mm,
because we were building Elite Tune School at the time.
right.
We didn't have the time to invest in anything else except, and now that we've kind of crossed those bridges and the ink has kind of dried, it's like, okay, we still have to finish that, but what's next? And I think
What's next
that's
for us?
where
Yeah.
I'm at is I'm always like, well, what's next? What's next?
Yeah. So, um, going about selecting and building a team with the right skill set, especially when it comes to AR app, that's important, right? So, what's your approach when it comes to developing an educational AR app like the one we are talking about?
Go ahead.
Well, I think it's important. We're big believers of if you're the smartest person in the room, you're in the wrong room.
Yeah.
So we've loved getting introduced to BA. And I think it's important, one, for you to start doing your homework. We've talked with numerous development companies, we've talked to numerous people about the idea before even really taking the next steps on it to ensure that it's viable.
Yeah.
But so you're supposed to be doing your homework. But
Sure.
in addition to that, finding people who have done this. It may not be the exact same app, but people who have been through the process of starting a technology company or app start to finish,
Yeah.
taking their advice, learning from them, and constantly putting yourself around the people that know the space, I think is huge for us. So we are leaning a lot on that advice while we're doing our own homework as well, I think is important.
Gotcha. Gotcha. Very good. So, are there any specific technological hurdles that you came across during development, or maybe it's like people issues or timeline issues? If you can speak to that.
Not yet. Now we did want to do some things with the app that didn't quite make it through legal. That's the only really hurdle that we've had.
Yeah.
But
Um,
we're just getting started
but we're
as well.
just getting started. So the hurdles will come. The left hard left turns and the hard right turns will come. It's just part of any business, as you probably know.
Yeah.
So it's how you deal with those problems that are going to come. So we're trying to avoid as many of those as possible while still moving in a productive pattern and not playing stalemate at any point in time. So it's like anything. If you keep moving forward, something will happen.
Yeah. So, with that, the milestone that you achieved with the AR app is now you are just around the corner of this demo, right? Or the demo is out there and you are showing it to others, right? Are there any other milestones that you've achieved in terms of the business, whether it's legal stuff or any other building the team, that type of thing?
I mean, the team that we are currently looking for the right team,
Right.
and I think that's going to be an ongoing process. And
Sure.
we're hoping to get some of those people. Maybe there might be one in this room to get to come on and work with us, work side by side as partner with us. We're constantly talking to people. Obviously, we haven't had the sit down yet, but we want to get the prototype complete. And our goal is to have that prototype complete by October,
Okay.
so we can actually present it. You will probably see it ahead of before that,
That's awesome. Yeah.
but yeah, start to get some feedback and see who's interested in it. If someone doesn't have a passion for it,
Yeah.
then I mean, it's I get it. It's not your thing, so
Right.
it's not like we're going to work together.
Yeah.
I'm looking for the 2 or 3 people that are like, this is really cool. We can do a lot of good things for the community with this. We can obviously expand this. We can make money with this. This is a great idea. I want to do this.
Yeah.
And those are the people I'm looking for, the people that have the passion. And as the company grows, and to who knows how it's going to scale out, it could be absolutely massive. Then we can decide, hey, we need these people on a full-time range. We need people
Sure.
doing this, handling this. Um, so it's gonna be a process for sure.
So you are basically looking for the folks who have that the passion, number one, right? They
The
need to be passionate.
passion is key.
Passion is key. They have to be passionate. They need to understand the business. They need to understand not just I'm creating this one module, but how does it fit within the ecosystem of the bigger picture, right? So that's your main go to, I guess, the measuring stick at this point to bring and build the next set of developers who will take this product from where it is now to where you want it to go,
Correct.
right? So with that, um, what has been the most rewarding aspect of what you achieved up to now in terms of, I mean, it can be an app, it can be just another startup. What has been that most rewarding aspect or milestones that you achieved?
I mean, I think when we signed the Electude contract, it was huge
Yeah.
because that pretty much, I mean, that pretty much sealed the deal on hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of schools, which we never dreamed would be possible in this amount of time frame. 'Cause that company is only a 2.5-year-old company, so it's
Mm.
not
Oh,
like,
wow.
so it's scaled out very quickly,
Right.
and it'll be finished and totally 100% scaled by the end of this year. So I mean, that to me, as far as that company concerned, I mean, when I got that contract and I finally got that thing signed and we got it submitted and it was done, I was like, even though we haven't built it out yet, which is an easy part for us to do, it was like that was like a huge load off of me because I was like, there's no more I can do in this space.
Mm.
Like this is, and the new company, I mean, the fact that we're sitting here with you right now and we're moving forward with the prototype, I mean, it's exciting for us. It's all, there's I'm more excited than scared, but I think there's something there. And until I find some people that can actually convince me that this is not a good idea with reasonable facts, I'm going to keep moving forward with it. But everybody that we've brought in on the project so far, is very excited to see what we're doing and how it works. And I think if that type of passion continues with, and I say passion, but that kind of eagerness to like do something different, and I think that's what we want to do. We want to kind of do something different and on the forefront of technology.
Right. Do you want to talk about what the product is going to look like on this podcast or no? I mean, it's
I,
completely up to you.
I think it might be better if we actually have it.
Okay.
So what I'm thinking is maybe we do a follow-up podcast, even if it's a
Love
shorter
it.
one, and
Yeah.
then we'll kind of say, hey, it's been 3 or 4 months now.
Yeah.
Where are you at?
Yeah.
And can we see the prototype?
Yes.
And we'll show it.
Yeah.
Something like that I think would be neat because I mean, to be honest with you, it's still, and I can like, sure, I can show you what's in my mind, but what's in my mind is not going to be what's in
In an actual
production.
app. Yeah.
Yeah, it's gonna. So until I really have that, I think it would be pointless for me to kind of even try and speak to the audience and tell them what it's going to look like.
Right.
But ultimately it's going to be an augmented reality app based app, for the outside, for the most part for children and for teenagers. Even though anybody of any age could use it, but we think it'll bring a lot of excitement to the market. We think we can do a lot of good with it. We think we can. I mean, we can do so many things with this.
Yeah. And previously you mentioned to me it's going to be a Pokemon-like experience,
Well, we use those
maybe.
words, but it's not going to be. You're not going to be collecting digital characters. And that's not really kind of what we're going for
Right.
with this.
Okay.
Um, but yes, the augmented reality part will be somewhat similar as far
Yeah.
as the geolocations.
Yeah.
I think we might actually have things that actually move in
Mm.
augmented reality, which has kind of never been done before. So we're looking with that and getting through legal with that.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, I think we're going to have some exciting things that are completely different that have never been done before with
Right.
augmented reality.
Yeah.
And I think that's what's going to make our app different,
Yeah.
and I think it's going to appeal to not only children and parents per se, but it's also going to appeal to advertisers
Yeah.
and people that are trying to drive traffic to locations. And it's going to have multiple aspects of it that can be and function in different ways in different spaces.
This is really exciting news, right? I mean, like I'm a technologist, so anytime I hear a new technology coming out, it's extremely exciting, and especially anything to do with the augmented reality world. That's reality world. That's very very exciting. So, um, what's next on the plate for you guys? And for our listeners, our viewers, what information you can share, and how can they connect with you and find out more about what you are up to?
Currently, Elite Tune School's got all the social media platforms: YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, LinkedIn. We're on all those platforms. So, following up with how that's going can definitely be through those channels. Trovex will have its own shortly. Um,
Yeah,
we haven't quite gotten to that space just yet, but really anything through Elite Tune School on any social platform, you can certainly find us and figure out where we're at with finishing up all those programs.
very good. So, Mike and Christina, thank you so much for
Thank you
coming
for
in
having
on
us.
the podcast. Really appreciate you guys being here. So, for the viewers, great things are coming. They are in the pipeline. So, stay tuned.